Like all things in politics, events, dear boy. In the last few minutes, it's been announced that KKR, the New York venture capital company looking to buy Thames Water, have pulled out of the deal. Yeah. And that now leaves Thames Water in a more perilous state than it was. Ironically, I don't think this review is going to accomplish much of anything for anybody. In fact, I have an enormous empathy for Sir John Cunliffe. I think he's been subject to a classic Sir Humphrey sleight of hand by Whitehall. Before the election, during the election, after the election, government promised a complete root and branch review, a complete overall far-reaching analysis of the industry, public consultation, a reset. What we were promised was champagne, and what it looks like we're going to get is nothing more than sour milk.
So John is actually coming on in the next hour, so we'll put that to him, won't we?
Absolutely. Feargal, just give us a broad sense of how you feel about water quality across the UK, because I know at the heart of it, you're very passionate, and I just want to get your sense of how you're feeling today, aside from this report. What's the state of play?
Well, the simple background is there is not a single river anywhere in England that is not polluted. Every single river is polluted, and one of the largest sources of that pollution is the water industry. Last year, England and Wales, somewhere in the region of 4.6 million hours worth of sewage was dumped into our rivers. This report by John this morning, even the interim version, does nothing to address any of that whatsoever. It simply creates more bureaucracy. And in fact, it simply regurgitates the terms of reference, the incredibly tightly defined terms of reference. By way of example, Sir John talks about strategy and overall ambitions for the industry. That is called the statutory guidance. Government has been issuing that to the water industry for 35 years. The Secretary of State could fix all of that this afternoon by simply reissuing the statutory guidance. They haven't done it, and they could have done it after the election.
We could talk, Feargal, about government strategies and how they don't work. The defence strategy just changed after 3 years. The industrial strategy frustrates people, or the lack of one. And now a water strategy seems to have been fairly non-existent. Let's broaden this out for people, because a lot of people will share your frustrations with the filthy state of our waterways. This is a look by Sir John Cunliffe at the water industry. Should it ever have been an industry?
Well, the truth is, I think we can say at this point, it's not a debate about privatisation versus nationalisation. I think we can all agree that this particular privatisation has utterly failed. These companies have made off with £84 billion worth of our money, leaving these companies £74 billion in debt. Our rivers are devastated, and London and the South East is running out of water. Quite simply, there's nothing in this report that actually addresses any of the fundamental underlying issues. It still plays to pollute. There's nothing here that's going to change any of it, and tinkering around the edges of a regulatory system that is institutionally dysfunctional, institutionally incompetent, and institutionally incapable of doing its job. What we needed was a fresh approach with fresh set of eyes, a clean sheet of paper. This is nothing but hanging up some new curtains and painting the front door and hoping that no one notices.
Wow, that's some response, Feargal. Listen, the final report will be published in the summer. What do you want to see in that report that would make you feel like change is coming?
He needs to address the two fundamental underlying issues. One, we need to remove polluting for profit, and we need to remove the monopolistic financial engineering, exploitive behaviour of these companies, and that means taking them into some kind of state ownership. And I want to see a plan that actually does nothing more than enforce the current law, because that would do the job we need. And I'm afraid Sir John's report, and it's not his fault, he has had his hands tied behind his back by government, who are now trying to duck the issue. But I think that with KKR pulling out of the Thames Water deal this morning, that now forces the issue. And in reality, government should put Thames Water into special administration, and it should do so today. Sir John's report we don't need, and it's not going to add any value.